All right. Get my stuff shifted around here. There we go. Looks like we got signal. It's a beautiful thing. Got your little drink. That's a tricky tune. It's a tricky tune. So that was a tune called Hungry Ghost. That is Brad Meldau and Juliana, still working it out, on the recording. There's just an incredible live version on YouTube, so you should check that out. I'll drop a link to that live version because that's worth a look for sure. We're getting there. It's Tuesday. It's 6 o'clock. Well, now it's 6:08. And I'm Jeff Pish. We're just in the studio doing some drum things. Gonna talk music and drums. Feel free to jump in the chat anytime. I always appreciate a little interaction. Is always good. First, let me know how the sound was if you were here for the beginning track. Been having some weird technology things, of course, this week. I fixed some things and then other things get jacked up. I need like my own engineer here to take care of all that, and then I'll be tip top. But you know, if I could pay someone else to do that, I'd be even more broke than I already am. So it's fine. It's fine. We work it out. I make it work with the best I can in my space with my stuff, and it's all good. Side note, if you were here last week, you will recall that I was drinking bottled water because I was having a problem with my well water. Well, my dude Johnny, he and I go way back, we used to play in a band together called the Lunchbox Heroes. So Johnny, along with being a fantastic bass player and fantastic singer, is also a manager at a well water company. So he hooked me up. We got everything squared away. They got me all set up, tested the water. We're good to go. So now I've got my regular bottle. Hey, there's Alex. What's up, my brother? Good to see you. So now we're drinking the good water out of the tap, filtered into this instead of buying unreusable plastic bottles. It's a good story. I know, good story. If you are new around here, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing this live stream thing every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a lot of different stuff. It'll be drumming, of course, drumming central. But I'll also be getting into the broader musical ideas and things like that. So this isn't just a drum channel. I'd love to have lots of people in. Alex, let's see, great to see you. Did you know the house band will be for the jam? Oh yeah, Sunday, the jam at the Kennett Flash. Dave Maddock, my good friend Dave Maddock runs that, for those who don't know. It's a fantastic jazz session. We did it all last fall and winter and into the early spring. This Sunday, the house band will be Dave, John Katz on the saxophone, and I will be playing drums this week. So I'll get to be in there as part of the house band, making the beats. So that should be super fun. If you are a local, please come out and sit in with us. It's a great time. It's a great venue at the Kennett Flash. Always a variety of players that come out, so we're always looking to get people in there. I'm a little hoarse this evening. A little hoarse. It's better than being a donkey. Just a little hoarse. Just a little hoarse. Hello, Gil Herme. I'm probably saying that wrong. My apologies. Welcome in. Welcome to the channel. So as I was saying at the beginning, I started off with a tune, Brad Meldau and Mark Juliana. Super fun. It's all in 7. some tricky things in there. It's funny. I've listened to that tune a number of times, and just kind of decided last night, I want to learn it. I want to play it. So I was going for it. There's a couple little things in there, of course, as it's only the second day of me hitting it. But, it's progress, and I like to put a little pressure on myself and see what happens and hope for the best. So hopefully it was not so bad. Again, please share, feel free to jump in the chat, subscribe to the channel. It really helps things out. Tonight, big topic that I was kind of going to talk about is utilizing multiple styles of music to influence your individual playing. So for me, I'm one of those people that listens to almost everything. I know everybody says that. I really do. I love different kinds of stuff. I love classical stuff, rock and roll, classic rock, blues, jazz, just anything but country. Everyone knows I'm well known for my disdain of country music, and I'm okay with that. It's all good. I think I can take these headphones off. Now I feel like I'm in the room, which is probably helpful for me to be able to hear myself better. But yeah, I'm just not a country person. That's all right. If you're into it, that's cool. I know there's some killer country musicians out there, some great local players that are doing the country thing around here in Chester County. So that's good for you. I support you guys as my friends and fellow musician compatriots, but I just don't dig country music. But the broad thing is, this gets away from drums, but it includes everything, any kind of instrumentalist. So, these kinds of things certainly apply to you, and I'm sure they do with a number of you, is just letting variety of genres into your playing. So, for example, like if you're a jazz player, and you're killing, you got your swing down, you've been studying all the guys, Elvin Jones and Tony Williams, all those cats and everything like that. And that's it. That you got it. You're dialed in, all the right things to play, and you're creative and do these things. Well, if you're not listening to other styles, rock and roll, little Latin, bluegrass even, why not? And letting some of that stuff into your jazz playing, you're missing out on some opportunities there. So one thing I like to do is, when I'm listening to different artists, is I like to check out what else they've done, what other kinds of things they're into, if they're just, again, back to the jazz example, if so-and-so is just a jazz player, then what, have they ventured out into other genres? Have they recorded in other genres? Have they performed live in other, types of genres? And so one great example that comes to mind, and I have notes too, which is super helpful. One great example that comes to mind is Sting. You look at Sting and all of his music, all his massive catalog, between the Police, his solo stuff, duet stuff with other artists, doing some, he's dug into the classical realm. He's gotten into world music. Like, world music is just huge for him. He gets deep inside these other genres, and they influence his writing as a songwriter and as a musician, as a bass player and as a singer. So he's one of the best ever to do it. And, just, you can hear those other elements inside of his writing and his vocal style and his, overall big picture musical style. Yeah, Alex, exactly. A lot of the Police songs have world rhythm stuff to it. Stuart Copeland was way into that stuff as well, or still is. Yeah, was. Stuart Copeland's way into that stuff as well, and he's another great example. He lets other styles influence the way he approaches a song or how he's going to play it stylistically. I played at the top of the top of the hour, as they say, I played that Brad Mehldau and Mark Juliana tune. Well, that's like that song is on the jazz side of things. I can kind of consider it improvisational electronic. It's kind of got its own thing. Yeah, I wouldn't call it straight jazz for sure, because it's a different kind of thing. But Mark, Mark Juliana, the drummer, he's done the straight ahead jazz thing. So he's gotten into the electronic thing. He does the drum and bass thing. He does, the rock and roll thing. He was with David Bowie. He's, St. Vincent. All that stuff that he does, and all those different styles help each other, help him create his sound in those other worlds. So when he's playing like his own, in his, say, let's talk in his, jazz quartet, which is, a little straight ahead. He's got some great writing. Like, he writes some really neat stuff, but he'll let some of those rock and roll influences and some of those drum and bass feels show up in his jazz playing, which is super freaking cool. So that's one thing I've always tried to do, as I've been learning, and I'm still learning, and I'm still studying, and will always be learning, and will always be studying, is finding other styles and how they can get into my personal sound. Because, that's the biggest thing, on any instrument, as a performer, and as, just being a musician in general, is wanting to be yourself, letting yourself come out in your playing and being individual. We're all different people. If you look at drummers, the way people hold the sticks, there's no one correct way. Everyone's hands are built different. I grew up, I started like this with the left hand traditional grip. So that's how I play. Would I want to go back and do this if I was starting over? Probably, because it just makes more sense. But because I've spent so many years studying this and playing this way for so long, that's what's comfortable. That's where my left hand is strong. Every once in a while I'll turn it over and I'll play some match grip, and it's fine, but it's not strong. It's not super controlled. It's just not. I would have to really sacrifice some learning time to get this to be correct for me. And all these things go for all instruments, of course, as well. Piano players. I play a little piano, but I know there's a variety of techniques. If you're a low wrist player and you get more things are involved, or you're very calm and very, minimalist in your movements, there's another style, and that one style technique doesn't necessarily work for somebody else. And that's what I'm talking about with all of these musical styles and trying to get them into your playing. So I listen to the music that I like, and I research different music and check new stuff out. Well, what I listen to is probably different from what you listen to on a regular basis, or what this person listens to, or what that person listens to. And that's going to directly influence, if we're talking about three different people, it's going to influence the way those three people sound. We could play the same song and sound completely different because of those outside influences of different music styles that we let in. And so that's, for me personally, so my background, most of you know me from the area, so you're all my locals. But if you are new around here and you're not local, I've got a wide array of musical experiences that I've had growing up. I did the marching band thing. I did the drum and bugle corps thing. I played in jazz big bands. I've, did some touring with a rock band, and I've played timpani on stage at the Kimmel Center. What else? I lose track sometimes. I've done some theater work. I've gotten to play lots of musicals and things like that, which I love. It's super fun playing. Um, and even like outside of drumming, I've sang in professional choirs and been able to do that side. And it's just a completely different musical experience. But all those musical experiences influence what comes out of my playing. Um, and Alex, yeah, pit band drumming. I mean, it's there's some challenging shows out there for sure. Everyone kind of thinks you're just playing boom pep boom pep boom pep boom pep for 3 hours, but it's not. There's reading the charts is difficult. You also still there's room for creativity in there as well. So that, playing those musicals, again, you can certainly from a jazz standpoint, letting the jazz influence what you're playing in a theater musical is pretty fun. To try to change some things up, unless you're playing some Grease. I got to play that show. I got to play Grease a couple years ago. What a fun show! It's old school rock and roll. You can play some dumb fun licks in there behind the drums, and it's all right. Some fast stuff. Yeah, great stuff. I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, just again from my background, I've done orchestral stuff. I play marimba, and hey, there's Greg Jackson, my dude. What's up, brother? Hey, if you're just popping in now, you'll have to go back and watch the beginning of the stream, Greg. There's a pretty hip tune in 7. I think you'll dig it. So you have to check that out later. But yeah, so no, just and what I like to do and what I'm thankful for is that I've had all of these variety of musical situations and experiences that now really, really influence the way I play. I'm getting older, as we all are, and I can look back now and start to see where, certainly where the drum corps hands come out in my drum set playing. Where my old, if I'm on a jazz gig, and where my rock drumming influences show up in my jazz. And it works for me. It's maybe some people don't dig it, and that's okay. Again, to each their own. That's the beautiful thing about the music scene is everyone's got their thing. If you like a particular player, then you're going to seek out more information about that player and about that band, and learn some things and let that influence you. Just keep soaking everything in as much as you can. And that's one of my favorite things. I don't get a chance to get out to see live music very often because I'm either gigging or I'm trying to do stuff around my studio. But if I do get out, I try to make sure it's somebody that I really, really am going to be able to soak in some great information and really learn from the band and from the music. Another example that I was thinking about earlier today, actually, that is a player who you think of as a certain kind of player. Well, some anyway, think of as a certain kind of player, but they really have a wider range of influences. Steve Smith, Journey, 80s, 90s rock and roll Journey. Here's Steve Smith, world touring, with those guys, unbelievable band. Like they're just out there rocking and killing it. This dude swings like a mother. I'm not going to curse on here because it's, family friendly and all. But yeah, look up. I mean, he's doing a lot more of the jazz stuff these days, because it's a little calmer, it's in his vibe, but even when he was doing all the Journey stuff, he's got the jazz left hand going, and he's out there killing. He also is into the world music thing. Again, I just feel like that realm is so huge, especially in the drum world. Getting into world beats and finding different stuff. I play a little djembe. I have a Middle Eastern darbuka as well that I enjoy. I play some marimba. So all these world percussion instruments and sound influences help me in any playing situation I'm in. A couple weeks ago, I played a classic rock gig with my dude Tommy Froelich. Tommy, love you, buddy, and I appreciate the work. I got a couple more coming up with Tommy soon. Um, I don't necessarily know all of the classic rock repertoire, as they say, and so I'm reliant on listening to what's going on around me and letting my jazz brain and my improvisational brain come in to this classical rock gig. And I can hear where Tommy's going with the chord changes. Check in on the bass and things like that, or if there's keys, I can find those chord changes. So even if I don't necessarily know the song, because I've listened and studied so much varieties of music, I can still find my way around. It may not be perfect. I've had many of swing and a miss on a gig like that, but I'm gonna be able to kind of predict certain things, just because of the influence of all kinds of music and letting that become part of what I'm gonna produce out of my gig. Oh, sorry, quick. Alex got a question here. Let me read. I know back for the first time. Tap dancers, what have you learned from performing with tap dancers in general, and that it can be awkward at first? Alex, yeah, that's a cool question. It's funny. I'd actually, before that, I had done something like that before, a long time ago. I don't know if it was necessarily a jazz jam. I don't remember the exact situation. But for me, as in yourself, Alex, as a drummer, in that kind of scene, my biggest concern is I hope they're gonna tap in time. I hope they're gonna tap in time. That's the big thing is if the time gets all out of whack, then it's not fun. Those things are fun and it's cool, and in the right setting it works. As far as learning, I mean, it's you learn. I try to learn from every gig I come out at, or every gig I'm playing, something like that. It's again learning. From a drummer's perspective, if there's a tap dancer there's another rhythm instrument, essentially. So I need to make sure that I'm leaving more space than I probably normally would, so that those tap rhythms can come through. So that's kind of the basics of what I would learn from that situation. Thanks for the question, Alex. Appreciate you, my dude. See a couple more people popping in. I appreciate that. Please do like the stream, and if you have not subscribed to the channel and you're new around here, please do hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, we're going to be doing these live streams every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Like 45 minutes to an hour. It just kind of depends on how things go. I'll do some playing. Some weeks I'll be talking. I've got some special guests that'll be coming in as well. We'll do some live studio playing straight from here, which should be super fun. I'm really looking forward to those kinds of things. Other nights, it's just going to be me, and you'll see what I'm working on. Whether it's a particular piece of music or I'm working through some books. I'm way heavy into Mark Juliana right now. I go through all these phases of which drummers I'm really, really extra digging in on. That it's circular though. There's 30 guys in the circle, and like right now I'm here, and I'm going to focus on that guy, and then 2 weeks from now I'll be here. I was like, oh, I'm really going to dig in on this cat and check stuff out. So as I traverse the realms of all the music things, I will also be just doing some generic playing and some different working on stuff as we hang out on our Tuesday nights. Back to some of the musicians I'm talking about. If you guys have other musicians that that might be known for a certain style, but you're aware that they've studied a different style or have played on different types of records, like some rock and roll guy who's way into like tabla drumming, something like that, or some killer rock and roll guitarist who also plays some flamenco. I love flamenco, by the way, sidebar. Love me some flamenco. All that cool stuff. Traditional flamenco. I also dig all the new school flamenco with all the drumming on the guitar and rhythmic stuff is super happening. Alex says Bill Bruford notably played for Yes, but he did not. He did so much more stuff than just Yes stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Bill Bruford's a great example. Um, he's a monster player, but he can do a little bit of everything. And that's what made his Yes playing great is all those influences and all those different things that he studied. Same for Rod Morgenstein. Yeah, I love Rod's playing. I remember seeing a video of Rod when I was in college, a long time ago, and it was just killer. His big tom sound, and he's just digging in with this fusion stuff, but with like a rock and roll edge to it. It was just a different thing. Like those big heavy cats, that are doing it at the highest level. It just makes a big difference. I'm gonna grab some more water. I hope everyone's having a good Tuesday, by the way. It's been a pretty chill day. So I have a day job. So I work my day job. I try to get started between 7 and 7:30 in the morning and then work till about 4:30. And then I can get into my nighttime music things, whether I'm down here in the studio hitting the kit or, I got the marimba down here too. I'll show you guys that one of these weeks. Yeah, we'll do some marimba stuff one of these weeks as well. If I don't make it down here, usually early in the week, like Mondays, Tuesdays, are tougher motivation-wise for sure. So I'll sit up in the living room or out on the deck. But I either take the practice pad or hit the pillow for a couple hours to at least do something. Whether if I'm not behind the kit, I always want to make sure I'm studying something or keeping the hands moving because I am gigging a good bit. So I have to maintain and continue to push myself to improve each week. I don't like going backwards. I always like this forward motion, this forward progress, and all the things I do, which can be aggravating at times for myself and others around me, I'm sure. But I'm always, just trying to push and keep studying and keep learning, and that's all we can do, as musicians and people, is just continue to try to grow, with the things that we love to do. Another side point, on our overall topic tonight about using other genres to influence how we perform, is it adds value, especially as a local musician. It adds value to what you can produce. For me, it's been super helpful that I can take a blues gig or a rock and roll gig with Tommy and be okay and get through it and be respectable and get through the tunes when I'm primarily, I put myself in like the jazz funk style, soul kind of drummer. But, again, I've added value by being able to do those other things. And like, Alex even brought up earlier, it's you got to be able to have these different styles in your hands and in your head and understand different things. And that's what gives you, from a business standpoint, which I hate, I'll talk about business stuff some other time, but from a business standpoint, especially as a local musician, if you can create your own value and be able to play all these different styles at a higher level, then you're going to get calls to gig, and you'll be able to get that income then that you can put into improving your gear or whatever you want to do. Pay your bills. I use it to pay bills on top of my day job. But you can use being able to have that value in being able to work with different musicians, and it's actually pretty cool. I enjoy the jazz gigs, of course, first and foremost, because that's where my head is. That's where my joy comes from. That's being able to just have a night of improvisation and just letting everything that I understand and have learned and have studied come out. When I'm on a rock gig, then I'm thinking a little bit harder. I'm I'm concentrating on, okay, well, this is the tune. Now I can hear where it goes and it's section, section, section. Some improvisational things do show up, of course, but but me being able to do those things again just adds to that value and just helps me to be able to get more gigs and meet more people and interact with more people, and that's what's really the big picture is how we hang with others, the way we treat people, the way we hang out, the making music with other people is like one of those great joys in life that if you're not a musician, you don't get it. Like, I mean, you really don't. I mean, even I have friends that are just just love to listen to music. They love to come out and see live music and support all the local musicians, but it's a different thing from behind the instrument. And I mean, I don't feel bad for those people because they get to just enjoy it, but there's just another element that's just a completely different thing when you're in a group of people that are all popping off and everyone's got this interplay happening between the guitar and the bass, or if you got an organ or a sax player, and just there's just something different to be able to perform in that. And again, being able to do it with all kinds of different people and meet all kinds of different people in the music world is one of the coolest parts of the whole thing. Alex says you make people feel good. Yeah, from an audience standpoint, that's, I hope so. That's always the goal. When you're, you want to be entertaining, you want to be musical, you want to, if you want the audience to listen, you want them to get sucked in and taken away from, whatever crap they dealt with that week or that day. They broke up with their girlfriend, but now they're sitting here listening to a live band, and yeah, they can just kind of separate themselves from that in that realm. So to be on this side, to play for somebody like that is a big deal. And I try never to take any gigs for granted. I'm always trying to get in there and do the best I can, because if there's people that are going to, whether they paid money to get in the door or they're just there to hang out, if they're there to listen, I want to do everything that I can in my power to make that a great experience for them. Whether it's, no matter what band I'm playing with, even if it's stuff, not my favorite type of music, I still want to make that a good experience for anyone who comes to hang out. Whew. Chatting it up tonight. This is a good topic. Like, I love, the getting away from not necessarily just technical drum things and, getting into the bigger picture. I'm always trying to feel the bigger picture of the music thing. Okay, I got some more notes, some more stuff to chat about. Or do I? I've kind of hit a lot of the big points that I've wanted to talk about tonight. But it's great to see everybody. As I said, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. The channel's growing already, which is pretty cool. Probably about a month ago, when I decided that I'm going to start to dig in on the YouTube side and just kind of see what happens. I didn't have a lot of followers. I post videos from time to time and just random things. But now that I'm getting myself more on a schedule, I have lots of different things happening, and recording stuff and, all that kind of thing. The channel's growing, and, I really appreciate that. I appreciate all the support, so share it with your friends. They don't have to be a drummer. This is a musical community, not necessarily just a drum page. Yes, of course, there will be lots of drumming, just enough drumming, as I like to say. And, but definitely share it around, and that'd be cool. And we'll keep adding some stuff to it. And See what happens. It's funny too. It definitely puts pressure on me now that, especially now that I'm doing some live stuff. It puts pressure on me and pressure slash encouragement to get down here to the studio to keep working, and it's making me a better player by going after this stuff. So selfishly, it gets me more time behind my kit and working on stuff. And even just talking about these concepts helps me think a little deeper, because when you're in the scene and you're playing all the time, sometimes you lose focus on the things that got you to where you are and things that you're trying to push yourself to get to in the future. So it is good. This is great for me to be able to just sit and chat, have some interaction, which is always helpful, and kind of hit things off from there. There are a couple housekeeping things. Again, like subscribe to the YouTube things. Helps me out. There is a video I just put out last week. It is a tune in 11, but it's pretty groovy. So check that out. I will drop a link to that in the comments. I have another video coming out tomorrow that I'm going to release, playing a little rock and roll, a little heavy for me, but you'll see. It's a great tune. It was super fun to put together last weekend, and so I'm gonna release that probably tomorrow morning. I'll get it up on the channel. So definitely check that out. Next week, I'm releasing the first installment of the Tony DeAngelis interview. He and I had a great time. It's been, I guess, about a month now since we hung out, and we had a blast just hanging out here in the studio, talking drums and music and all the things. So I broke it down into, it's going to be 2 episodes of a drum chat with Tony. So that'll be out next week, and then I'm going to continue recording some new stuff. I have some other interviews with some local musicians that are coming into the studio, and go from there. So we'll wrap things up. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hit this tune one more time. Hopefully I can still hang with it. But it's also, I like doing the tune once at the beginning and once at the end, because it is going to be different. It's always, there's going to be a different take on it. Yes, maybe this one will be better than how it came out at the beginning of the stream. Maybe I'll miss some things. We'll see what happens. But I do appreciate you. Hang out. Check out this last little tune. And make sure you come back next Tuesday. Every Tuesday, 6 o'clock. We'll be streaming and just doing a variety of stuff. And let me get set up here. Get that all rewound. And we're going to do that. And I hope you're having a fantastic week. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. And here is, once again, Hungry Ghost. Thank you.